Alright, I am making this video mostly for my dad as a tutorial how to use this marker. I just built this marker for my dad. He's kind of been interested in the impulses. I've got a couple, and he's wanted an impulse for a little while now, so I found him a cool one on eBay and rebuilt it with a bunch of great parts. This is a Rat Junior impulse with the Max Flow. That's kind of like this stock reg. It's got a Evil respirator, Evil valve, New Designs ram, ShockTech bolt. This, it's like a twisting feed neck. It's pretty nice. He's got his own freak barrel, but this one's on there for right now. It's got a function trigger, Empire on-off little flipper there. He likes the steel braided hose as opposed to the Max, or the what am I trying to say, the macro line. We've got a Ninja tank on there, and it's got a Was equalizer board in it. I just put a regular Vision cover on there because it worked for right now until I can find a different one, or I guess it works. It does show a little bit in the back. I kind of had to modify it in order to fit the Was eye in there, but it does cover from the most part from the front if you get hit from the front, so just don't get hit right there in the back, I guess. Protect yourself. But so yeah, I'm gonna get into a little tutorial of how to use this thing, how to turn it on, and what to do as far as air pressures and stuff like that. I did take it out to the field yesterday and it shot really excellent, no leaks or anything. So yeah, I guess we're gonna get to it. The first thing you want to do is air it up. So we're gonna just flip this knob. Okay, well, that just means we need to turn down our Max Flow here. I just put this blue cap on here, so I'm sure that's why. That was that noise was coming out of the burst disc here, and that's really what happens if your pressure is above 300. So that just means that the Max Flow is giving more than 300 pounds of pressure, and it was blowing out of this disc right here. But that's fine. We're going to turn the Max Flow down, and our Max Flow setting should be around 200 is optimal for it. If you need to, you can bring the pressure up to about 220. But this is going to be your first setting as far as pressures go. You want your Max Flow optimally around 200, so we'll see what happens here. Alright, we're good. So see, now it airs up. Our pressure does say it's right under 200. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit so we can see that the Max Flow is engaged here. Actually, yeah, okay, so it says it's around 200. I'm not going to turn it up anymore because our pressure might change as I shoot it. I'm going to go ahead and take the barrel cover off, and we'll see what's happening here. So to turn it on, I have this marker in I mode 2, which is the standard, it's technically I mode 1, but 2 clicks in the board settings. We can talk about board settings in a little bit, but basically I'm just going to turn it on, 1 click. It turns red like that. Wait for a second, and it should be flashing green. Flashing green means that you're in the vision mode and there's a paintball being seen in there. I'm gonna push right here. You can kind of see the button. I covered it up with this Airgun Design sticker. But the button down here for the hopper is just 1 click. Hold it for about a second or so. You'll see this light flash, 3 green and 1 red. That means it's on, and as we can see that this thing has, vision, there's already a ball in the chamber. You're ready to go. So this is ready to shoot. I can go ahead and just pop one off. There we go. Shoot twice. Everything's going good, no leaks or anything. Come back here to check our pressure after we shoot it, and our gauge is reading just under 200. That actually, it sounds like I'm pretty good. When you do your chronographing, you want to adjust with this guy. If you can't get the adjustment with the Evil Respirator up here, the LPR, then you can bump your max flow up a little bit. Basically, you're going to want to screw this inward, so if you're facing this way, more than likely you're going to be facing this way, so it's going to be your counterclockwise motion. If you're screwing it from the front, it's just clockwise. But screwing inward will get you up, and outward will get you down. So that's how you want to adjust for your chronographing. And then, like I said, this one, if you can't get that setting to go high enough, or you feel like you're at the very height of it, you should be able to be in like the middle of the spring. It shouldn't be at the bottom or the top. So if you need a little more pressure, you just push your max flow up here. And then if you feel like your max flow is good, you're either at like 200. This is a little under, so I could need to bump it up to 200 or go to like 220 if you really need it. I guess on like a cold day maybe or something. Just bump that up with screwing this in. So that's the air settings. Everything, it seems to be shooting pretty well. I'll take a couple more shots here just to see the trigger. Yeah, it's going really awesome. This thing shoots great. So I'll talk about the board settings here. To turn the marker back off, you hold this down until it flashes red. There we go. Now it's off, and you can click the trigger, nothing happens. To go ahead and turn your hopper back off, you hold down the button. It's right here again. It's not really a visible button because I covered it all up with a sticker, but the button you can feel is right there. Hold it down and wait till it turns red and let go. Now you're off. If you ever have a jam in your hopper, that's what this guy over here is for. Or if you need to get all the paint out of it at the end of the day, you can turn your hopper upside down. Make sure you remember your speed feed is it's kind of a weaker speed feed, so the paint can fall out of it if you tip your marker or your hopper upside down. You just turn it upside down and you spin the wheel here backwards. Make sure you only do that with the hopper off, but you can just spin all your paint out of it and back down into the hopper, and take your hopper off and put your paint back into a bag, or just leave it in your hopper, whatever you want to do. So we'll talk about the board settings now. For those who don't know how to do it, to get into the setting mode, you just hold the trigger down and then press your button for just until the light comes on, and then you can let go of the trigger. It turns into this. Now you're in the red setting is the first setting, which is dwell. I've got everything written down over here. The dwell I have set at 15 clicks. So I don't know exactly what that is in dwell. They're in like milliseconds per click. So it's not like it's at 15 dwell. It's probably, I don't know, I'd have to look at the information to see exactly how many milliseconds it is per click, but I think we'll call it half. So if it's at 15, we're at like 7.5 dwell. So that's not for sure, but I'm just saying for an instance, that's probably around what it is. So debounce I have set at 10. That's going to be the next setting. You just click the trigger to get to the next one. That's green is debounce. 10 I believe is the stock setting for the board. It's been working pretty good for this one. So I in this software actually I only have semi-auto. I don't have the extra settings for the equalizer with ramping or full auto on this marker. I think my dad just wanted it that way, just semi-auto, old school. He doesn't need anything crazy at the fields he'd be playing at. He's not trying to do tournament paintball or anything with this, just going out to have some fun at the field. So he wanted me to leave the old settings on there, which is fine. I'm cool with leaving it on there and just having this marker as a semi-auto. As you can see, it shoots excellent. So our debounce at 10. Next click, orange, is the eye mode. This is, I think I said earlier, in 2 clicks, which is eye mode 1. The first click is bypass, which means eyes off. If you were to go into this setting, 2 clicks is eye mode 1 for black bolts. 3 clicks is eye mode 2 for white bolts or any other reflective bolt. I think that the action actually, like the eyes are focused on the bolt in eye mode 2, which is 3 clicks, more than it is the ball. I've never actually used it because I don't have white bolts, so I've never really messed around with it too much, but I think that's what it's doing, is it's actually focusing on the bolt rather than the balls. So then 4 clicks is a dry firing mode. So if you ever want to dry fire and you can see the maximum that the marker will fire, that will, dry firing mode will make your cap exactly what your rate of fire cap is. You'll be shooting pretty fast, but you don't want to shoot paint in dry fire mode. And so the next setting is flashing red is your ball in place delay. I think that's just like, it's sort of like the speed of your eyes, and how fast you'll sense the next ball. So I have mine pretty low at 5. I think the stock setting is 10, so I lowered it a little bit because it just makes your eye sensing a little faster. The next one, flashing green, is your rate of fire cap. I have this one capped at 12 right now, as I guess that's sort of the standard. Back in the day, we used to turn these things all the way up, but most fields I think are around 12 balls per second now. And in semi-auto, you should really have no problem, being under that with this gun. And your rate of fire 12, and then the eye power being the flashing orange. This is how sensitive your eye is. So sensing the ball with light, it's pretty covered up. The eye is in there and not getting too much light inside. So that's good. But, for instance, if you had like a clear hopper and it was letting any light down in there or something like that, it makes the eye less sensitive. So I have this set at 10, which I believe is the stock setting for the board, and it seems to be working fine, sensing the eyes. I think that if you turn it down a little bit, you can get your rate of fire up a little higher, but of course you're risking, a little more likely to get a chop. But yeah, I think it just works fine at 10. And then the next setting, if you have later software and you have the modes with ramping and full auto, you would click it again and it would be a flashing green and orange light. But this one cycles right back to the red one, which is dwell, showing that we have an older software in this, and it doesn't have those modes. So, if you want to get into any of those settings, you just hold the trigger down till the light disappears and it flashes the numbers like I just described. And, and then it flashes multicolors, and that says that the new setting was taken. And so then you get out and it comes back to the lights. You can cycle through all the colors, flashing and back to red. In order to get out of this, you just hold your button down until it turns red again, and you're off and you're good to go. You turn the gun back on, hold it down until the color, and at this point there is a ball in it, so it's flashing green. That's what you want. If it's flashing slow green, like one and then a pause and then another one and then a pause, that means that the vision eyes are on, but there's no ball in the breech. In order to get into the next eye mode, which would be your bypass, you hold this down for just a second and then let go, and now it's flashing red. That means that you are eyes off, but the the marker is on, so I can shoot like this, but the eyes are off, so you're risking the chopping. You know, you're not watching how the paint is coming in. This mode right here is good to me. This is usually what I dry fire in, or if I have the marker degassed and I just want to hear the solenoid click, you know, I'll sit there and play with the trigger and click it. And this is the mode when you don't have paint in it. Of course, if you don't have your air set up, you can always just throw a paintball down into the breech and dry fire, and, you know, click. Not dry fire, but just click with your gas off, just to hear the solenoid click. But yeah, so this is eyes off. In order to get back into eyes on, you just hold it down for a second again. We've got the flashing green, we're good to go. Everything is on. And so yeah, that's basically it. We'll make sure that our hopper is on again. You want to make sure your hopper is on every game. Hold it down for a second. 3 green lights, then a red one, you're good to go. If you didn't previously have paint in the breech, like we're already in the stack, and the eye sensor for the hopper is actuated already. So but you know, normally if you don't, this thing will start spinning and it'll cycle through until you do. So yeah, let's get to the fun part here. We've made this video long enough, and it's time to shoot some of this paint out, see how this thing goes. So yeah, you can definitely see, even for semi-auto, this thing is shooting excellent. It basically shoots, you know, just as I'm pulling the trigger. I mean, it's great in semi-auto mode. And yeah, I love this gun. Everything that's come with it, all the internals, you know, it's got great internals in it. It's got probably the best board that you could have for it. The MaxFlow is an excellent regulator, even though I kind of think they're a little big and bulky, but I have grown to like the bigger handle a little more. It's definitely a little more weight on your marker, but it's a good shoot for sure. I love these impulses. Oh, and I didn't even talk about the dye sticky grips. These are sticky 3s on here. These give you an amazing grip. I mean, it feels like you got a Dr. Scholl's, you know. I'm like gelling over here. But all right, yeah, I'm gonna shoot out the rest of this paint, and we'll see what happens when we run out of paint here. And we'll turn the marker off, and that'll be the end of this video. All right, there it is. We're out of paint, and you can see it's in the eye mode still. That's the slower flashing green, like I was describing, where there's no paint, so it won't shoot as you pull the trigger. The hopper is cycling because it's not sensing any paint in there, so if you want to turn it off, hold it down, hold the button down for just a second there until it turns red, and you're off, good to go. Marker's still on, still gassed up. Not shooting because it's eyes mode on, but we can turn it into that other mode. You just push that for a second, let go, it starts flashing orange. That means that your eye is off and you can shoot. And to turn the marker off completely, you hold it down until it turns red, and we're off. Everything is good. We will, you can flip this up. It's still gonna have gas if you flip it up. So actually I can turn it on. It's on eyes on, turn it on to the eyes off mode, shoot the gas out, and that's that. You turn your marker back off, hold it down until it's red, and we're off. Throw our barrel cover back on. The way I like to do this is just flip the loop over the hopper and then stretch it down, slide it on. You can, you know, pull it off with this if you want to. I just find it easier to hold it with this thing and do the whole action like that. So you can see our gauge back down to 0. We got no gas in it. And yeah, that's a sweet Rat Jr. Impulse, Freak Barrel, ShockTech Bolt, New Designs hammer. Oh, it does actually have a New Designs ram. It actually has, I didn't mention earlier, a ShockTech hammer in it. Slick shot shaft in the New Designs. We've got the Evil valve, Evil respirator LPR, function trigger, MaxFlow reg, was equalizer board, die sticky 3 grips, a CP rail, and an Empire on off. And yeah, that's it. That's the marker.